Well, the Israeli government spokesperson, David Mencer, joins us now live from Tel Aviv. Thank you for joining us. When you say that you're trying to stop weapons getting into the hands of jihadists, who do you mean? Do you mean HTS, who are now in control of this country?
Thank you for having me on, Christian. Nothing would make us happier in Israel to have a peaceful border and peaceful relationships with our neighbours in Syria. We hope that does indeed come to pass with whatever the leadership takes place or if it forms in Syria. But we simply do not have the luxury of waiting to see what happens as you do in London. This is our neighbourhood. In Israel, we've got to do what we need to do to protect ourselves. We can't have jihadis embedding themselves on our northern border and chemical weapons in the hand of jihadis. We hope that they are these moderate jihadis that we're all hearing about. Chemical weapons in their hands is simply not a good idea. So we're taking care of them.
This is all preemptive, isn't it? I mean, they're not attacking you as things stand. They're not attacking you. They're not advancing towards you. And the question is who you mean. You know, do you mean the likely government of the new Syria?
We mean that anyone that means to attack us. We've got our eyes wide open here. I say again that we very much hope that there is a new beginning for Syria. No one can have been helped but been moved by how the Syrian people have shaken off this dictator. 500,000 people Assad is responsible for. We're all moved at them shaking off the dictatorship. But chemical weapons and fighter aircraft in the hands of jihadis, the same jihadis that evolved from ISIS, the same jihadis that evolved from Islamic State and Daesh, is simply not a good idea. The US has taken action in the last days or so against ISIS, and we are as well, because these weapons falling into the hands of jihadis is simply not a good idea.
Well, I mean, you're still being a bit vague about who you mean precisely, but I mean, why are you attacking the Syrian Navy, for example? There's no question of naval warships being in the hands of ISIS. You know, that is precisely the kind of attack that the UN means when it says you are destabilizing this very fragile situation.
Again, in London, you have the luxury to wait and see what happens. We simply don't have that luxury here in Israel. These are jihadists. Okay, so Israel instructed...
No, but why are you attacking the Navy? There are no jihadists taking over the Navy.
So I'm not sure what you mean. If there is a jihadist regime taking control in Syria, or if Iran...
So you do mean to attack the new government here? So all you're saying about how exciting it is, you mean the government here, HTS. That's what you're trying to attack.
We're protecting ourselves against jihadis. The new government doesn't need chemical weapons. It doesn't need fighter jets right now. It needs to rebuild a life for the future of its own citizens. We want that to be a peaceful future on our northern border. We simply don't have the luxury. After the October the 7th massacres, these are jihadis which praised those massacres. They want to emulate them. Some of them do. So, you know, you in London can wait and see what happens. We here in Israel don't have that luxury. We will defend ourselves. We're taking these pieces off the chessboard.
I mean, I'm actually speaking to you from Damascus rather than London, but of course a lot of people here will also say, well, who are you to talk about weapons of mass destruction or fearsome weapons, given the kinds of weapons you've been using on Palestinians in Gaza?
We've been engaged in a war against Hamas, not against Gazans. We've tried our hardest to get Gazans out of harm's way. We're close to finishing off Hamas. That's one of the reasons why Iran has been exposed. They are weakened, which is why the rebel groups have managed to take control in Syria. We hope this is a new beginning for Syria. We're desperate for good relations with our neighbours. But if that does not come to pass, then we must have ourselves protected. We cannot have jihadists on our border which seek to replay again the October 7th massacre. It won't happen again.
I mean, you know, bombing your neighbours is not the best way to find good relations with them, is it?
So, Krishnan, you're a little bit obsessed with Israel, if I may say so. We've made very, very clear what our intentions are.
Well, you're the Israeli spokesman. That's why I'm asking you about Israel's policies.
And I'm giving you our policy. Our policy is, number one, we want peaceful relations. Number two, our neighbors don't need chemical weapons. They simply don't need them.
David Mencer, we must leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.